Hello, sports fans. Jim Coyle with Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Thank you for stopping by our YouTube channel. Make sure to hit the subscribe and notifications toggle so you never miss a thing. All of our content up here every day. Looking forward to it. Thank you, and we'll see you on the radio.
Welcome to Indiana Sports Beat Radio, brought to you by the Hard Truth Distilling Company in Brown County, Indiana.
So for the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, time!
3 on the way. Oh! It went in! It went in! And Indiana wins the ball game!
Know your role and shut your mouth, you jabroni!
Float game for the win! Ayler's gone. Goodbye. Touchdown, Indy. Woo! IU! America! They got a football team now!
It's pretty simple. I win. Google me.
You know that I'm the cream of the crop.
Now, from the Hard Truth Studios, here's Jim Coyle.
Welcome back to the Hard Truth Distilling Company Studios on this Wednesday. Jim Coyle with you as always, and joined by the great Rick Bozich from WDRB.com. How are you, sir?
I'm good, Jim. How are you?
Cannot complain. I have not had to go outside, not even thought about going outside in a couple of days, as we've got about 10 inches of snow up here. What did you guys end up with?
I think we got 9-ish with some freezing
Oh, wow.
rain.
So you got it as well.
It seems like it's snowing a little bit right now. So just got the driveway shoveled yesterday and it's snowing again.
You know, our buddy Jeffrey the Greek that's on here, Pave Drain, pavedrain.com, folks. That's exactly what they do. Indiana back on the hardwood tonight with USC coming to town in a game that I call that should be a stretch your legs kind of game. Don't want to call them easy games or automatic wins. There's no such thing. But USC, not exactly one of the toughest teams in the conference. Indiana is playing well here of late. I put out I did some research yesterday, which and it's kind of hard to argue with these numbers. Everybody has complained about this too big system that Mike Woodson insists on running. And now he has, in what I call, been accidentally forced into running an offense that might give Indiana a chance to win, because these are hard numbers. In the 2 games prior to, and it has nothing to do with Malik Renew. It's not him. It's just you can't run. Malik Renew is what I call a tweener. He's not big enough, or he's not athletic enough, not quick enough, prone to foul trouble, and not a good enough shooter to effectively play the 4. He's not big enough, tall enough to dominate the middle like someone like Ballo can. And so he doesn't really have a solid spot. He's a good player, again, don't get me wrong. But when Indiana had one big prior to him getting hurt, the immediate 2 games, they were 6 of 40 from 3 for a whopping 15%. The 4 games prior to totaled up, they shot, I think, 18 of 89. Now, immediately since Renew went out and the 2 games that they had to play with just Umar Ballo, Umar has gone off big time, but the 3-point shooting has skyrocketed. They shot, 44% against Rutgers, 12 of 27. They shot 39% against Penn State, and offensive rebounds off the chart, 18 against Rutgers, 34 second chance points. Then I think 17 more against Penn State or 13 more for 17. All of that season highs. I don't think you can argue with the numbers, and they tell the story it has given this team its only chance to win, I think, which is ironic because does Mike Woodson back into saving his job?
I agree with you. I think it's been a problem in Indiana for a while, and the problem has been that the guys they played at the 4, whether it's been Malik Renew, Race Thompson, trying to think of the guy, I just had his name, who was before him when Archie was there. There was another guy that played the 4.
Oh, yeah, I don't remember who.
I'll think of it in a minute. They're not Justin Smith. They're
I
guys.
forgot all about him.
Yeah, they're guys. They're good players, but they're not well fit for modern basketball because they can't shoot the ball effectively, especially from 3, or they're not great handling the basketball, driving the basketball, passing the basketball, or playing out on the perimeter. That's not their post. Their best games in the post, and that's not Renew's fault. That's just who he is. That's what his size is. That's what his skill set is. But, when you've got 2 guys that are that way, and Ballo can't play away from the basket either, it does clog up the middle of the court. You have one less shooter. There's less movement, and it doesn't seem to work as well. And, I mean, the numbers back it up. The eye tests back it up. The results seem to back it up that Indiana is a better team with only one big man playing, and whether it's a combination of Galloway, Goody, Rice, Carlisle, Tucker, whoever, Leal, the ball moves better, the ball gets to the open guy better, and the offense seems to be more effective. Now, if Woodson is going to acknowledge that, he's going to have to sit down and have a difficult conversation with Renew and say, you're going to still play, but it's going to be a different role, and we're going to have to find a way to make this work. I'm not sure he agrees with what we're saying, and I'm not sure he'll make that change, but I guess we won't see for a while because he's not going to be back, for another couple of weeks still?
Yeah, I think so. And again, ironically, I did not have Indiana winning the Rutgers game. Now, I didn't know they weren't going to have Dylan Harper. That's one thing.
Right.
And then I didn't know that this miraculous change was going to happen for Indiana because they looked good at Penn State. That's a good win going on the road and beating a team that has beaten Purdue. They just look freer. Mackenzie Mbako has come alive. Not that he was dormant, but he did not look happy. He did not look like he was a part of what was going on prior to, but his numbers have risen. I think it just gives a more calming. You cannot just run everything through that center. It doesn't work. And now they won't have to. And this might be, because it's going to be, the margin for making the NCAA tournament for this team this year is not big, and they have to steal some wins. I think the Rutgers game was a stolen win. I didn't expect them to do it, but Penn State, that was a stolen win. Tonight, not so much. Saturday, they're going to get tested at Iowa. Iowa's a team that went on the road to Nebraska, was down by 15, and come back and win. They're battle tested.
Yeah, Iowa got drilled last week too, though, by Wisconsin. They gave up 116 points and 21 threes. So depends on which Iowa team. I thought Iowa was going to lose last night. In fact, I was surprised when I woke up this morning and saw they won the game because they were down 15 in the second half. That'll be a tough game for Indiana to win, in my opinion, because I don't think I'm not sure they can score enough to take advantage of Iowa's terrible defense. But tonight's a must-win. Can't lose to USC. Musselman's a good coach. I know they've struggled, but I don't think it'll be a walkover against them. I do wonder whether USC, what the distraction level will be with their players and their coaches, considering the fires that are going on in Los Angeles right now. It's got to be pretty unnerving for people on that staff knowing that their city's on fire the way it is. But it's a big game. Indiana needs to win this game because after this don't they start the stretch of 11 straight games where the Ken Palm has them as the underdog?
Yeah, but I think that's going to change because this team,
If they win a few, it'll change. Yeah, but right now, they're not favored to win. I think the next 11 after this.
Well, I would not. They're at Iowa. I would have them an underdog. At home to Illinois, I would have them as an underdog. At Ohio State, I would have them as an underdog.
Right.
At Northwestern, I would not.
Well, he's got them losing by 3. But go ahead. Maryland at home, he's got them losing by 1. At Purdue, losing by 9. At Wisconsin, losing by 8. Michigan, which had a big 20-point win at UCLA last night, losing by 4. At Michigan State, losing by 8. UCLA at home, losing by 1. Purdue at home, losing by 2. So it's 11 straight games they're underdogs.
I think that's going to change because I do expect them. I expect them to win tonight. Saturday's going to be a telltale sign. You've got a team that has shown cracks in Iowa. And if Indiana is on the rise, that they're really getting it together, that's going to show. But that's going to be a different type of game for them because they're going to have to get up and down the floor. But Iowa does not play much defense either. So that's going to be if they could pull that game out, that would be a huge stolen win for this team.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the key against Iowa is to get back on defense because Iowa, if you score on them, they don't really care. They just want to get back down and shoot. They had some kid named Josh Dix. Never really heard of him. He had 31 points last night. He hit 7 threes. So in addition to the Peyton Sanford and the Owen Freeman, they've got a 3-headed attack there. So that'll be USC is their easiest game the rest of the year, according to Ken Pomeroy. Their projected win probability tonight is 73%. So you need to win this one. They don't have another game when they even have a 60% projected win probability the rest of the way. So they got a lot of tough road games. They got at Ohio State, at Purdue, at Michigan State, at Oregon. At Washington and Oregon, yeah.
Well, Washington's only travel; they're not very good. But and Oregon is.
They beat Maryland Sunday, I think it was.
Was that at home?
Yeah, it was in Seattle.
Oregon has been a little
up and down
here of late. I'll tell you the team that's on the rise, Michigan. You mentioned that huge win.
Yeah,
man, that's a shocker.
Michigan is good. They just went on to Los Angeles and beat USC and UCLA back to back. So they took care
How
of
pissed off is that going to make Indiana fans? Is this if Michigan becomes, and they already are, a player in the Big Ten race, but they're one of the 4 teams that I see as a legitimate contender to win the title. Illinois up there with UCLA, but
UCLA's lost twice already. I think the 3 teams to beat are Michigan, Michigan State, and Illinois. Those are the 3 teams to beat.
Yep.
And then it's probably a little drop down to Purdue after that and maybe Wisconsin.
But how pissed off are Indiana fans going to be if Dusty May comes in and wins the Big Ten in his first season?
On a 1 to 10 scale, it'll be like 17.
Yes, that's exactly. And with good reason. But that ship has sailed. Congratulations to them. But it shows you how it should be, in my opinion. It's no longer rocket science. It's no longer a 3 or 4 year build up. And that's what makes it so utterly mind-boggling for fans.
Look what's happening in this town. I mean,
Louisville just landed Mikael Brown.
Right. And Louisville, in a 7-day stretch, Louisville beat North Carolina at home by double figures. Then they went to Virginia and won for the first time since 1990. Wow. And then last night they beat Clemson, which was the preseason pick to finish 3rd or 4th in the ACC, and beat them by 10. So Duke's first in the ACC, and Louisville's tied for 2nd with Clemson.
They had to bounce back too. They were playing well. Then they had was it injuries that kind of hit them? Not sure.
Yeah, they've got 2 guys who are being the top 9 rotation who are out for the year, the Case and Pryor and Corin Johnson, but they've won 5 in a row now for the first time since I think 2021.
The guy the down the road from you, they're not doing too bad either. Mark Pope in his first season in Lexington at Kentucky. Man,
Yeah, they're having a good year.
Pretty
They
well.
found out though that life in the SEC is tough. Last night they went on the
son.
road. They lost to Georgia, and the most remarkable score of the year was the Tennessee score last night.
Oh, they got blistered, but I mean, Florida's not exactly a Joe Schmo. They did
not.
just lose to
They
Kentucky,
lost by
but
30. They lost by 30.
To Kentucky?
Who?
Florida.
Florida lost to Kentucky by 6, but Tennessee lost to Florida by 30 last night.
Oh, yeah. But Tennessee was a paper number one. I think everybody knew that. And I talked yesterday with Mike Corsi about this. Why, when anybody that has an AP vote had to know that Auburn was the best team in the country. Why is Auburn not voted the best team in the country? I don't care that Tennessee happened to be in line when whomever was in front of them lost. That's stupid. That's just like, okay, it's your turn. Bull crap. The number one team was Auburn. And so that was a joke, in my opinion.
I mean, Tennessee has a lot of good wins, though. They beat Baylor. They beat Illinois.
But did you think that who was better before the loss, Tennessee or Auburn?
I've been voting Auburn Tennessee number one. So I'm one of the guys who disagree.
Why over Auburn? I'm just, and I'm not picking on you. Obviously.
I guess the problem is
you're the only voter I have right here now.
Auburn lost a game to Duke, but if you look at their scores, they blew out Memphis, they blew out Ohio State, they blew out Purdue. They've got a lot of quality wins. They beat Houston. They've got a lot of quality wins. They'll be number one next week because they're going to beat South Carolina on Saturday, and they only beat Texas by 5 last night on the road, though. So it's going to be a year where I think every team in the country is going to finish the season with 3 or 4 losses at least. That'll be the minimum.
Oh yeah, I mean the Big Ten is probably going to be 6.
Could be. You got to steal one, like you said. Indiana stole.
But
I'd say they stole the Penn State game. You can't lose your home games. You got to steal a few on the road.
Exactly. And if you lose any home game you lose, that has to be made up on the road.
Mm-hmm.
And you're already at a disadvantage because there's only a few wins that you are expected to be able to get on the road. I mean, they may think that they're going to, but the reality is no one's expecting, say, Indiana to go to Purdue and win, to go to Maryland and win. Not to say that can't happen or won't happen, but that's not the expectation. So you have to plan accordingly. But yeah, they're going to have to find a place. And I'm looking at Saturday as a kind of a litmus test.
Well, the other challenge Indiana faces is their non-conference schedule was so lackluster that they get nothing out of it. I mean, they beat South Carolina. South Carolina is probably the worst team in the SEC.
Yep.
They beat Providence. Providence is, they're second division of the Big East. They don't have any quality non-conference wins. And then they getting blown out by Louisville the way they did, getting blown out by Gonzaga the way they did, that doesn't help. So any credentials they're going to build are going to have to come by winning in the Big Ten, which means they're going to have to, at least go 11-9 or maybe 12-8?
I think that they have to have a winning. You can probably get away with a 500 Big Ten record this season, maybe. Definitely nothing below that.
If you do, though, you're going to have to win a game or 2 in the Big Ten tournament.
Oh, absolutely. And you will be a first-day competitor. So
right. Is that in Indianapolis this year?
Yes, fortunately enough. Indiana is just, I don't, like I said, I've kind of resisted getting into that fray all season because it was pointless. It's just going to let the season play out. But after, looking at those numbers that I poured through yesterday and went back, and I'm like, dude, if the adjustments are not made accordingly to match this, then that tells me it's just an absolute out and out refusal to try to do any and everything you can to put your team in a position to win. There's no disputing this. Now, can it be an anomaly? Of course it could be, but I would go the other direction and say, well, and again, it's not going to have an option right now. So if this continues to happen, what happens when Renew comes back? That's the $64,000 question.
I mean, he's going to have to be a team guy, and he's going to have to be told this has been working, and we're going to fit you in. And some nights you're going to play the 5. And
question, but will it happen? That's the question.
Yeah, it's a great question.
Because I just cannot see Mike Woodson sitting Malik Renew, and I just don't think he can resist himself on stubbing for people 8 minutes into a game in which Ballo just played 34 minutes in the last game and destroyed. He destroyed. He can play 34 minutes. He's fine. But it's like I don't understand where this thinking comes from that these guys can't play. He used to play more than that in college. And look at other teams. That's how it is. Your best players are on the court 80% of the time.
No, you're right. Chucky Hepburn's consistently plays 34 to 37, 38 minutes for Louisville. He's done it all year long. They don't have any choice. And they've got a couple of other guys, Javon Hadley and Terrence Edwards, that are playing mid-30s minutes. So, yeah, I agree with you. It's just going to be a matter of, buying into the concept. And we don't have much reason to think that Mike Woodson's going to buy into the concept because he's never built his teams in that manner. And Malik Renew is a third-year guy who he's very loyal and committed to, and I'm sure it'll be tough for him to make a change.
Yeah, I shouldn't have said the $64,000 question. I should have said the $604,000 question. That's probably a little closer to reality. And that is another thing. I think that money has been handed out to guys without the thought of really how it's going to work. And you can't run a business that way. That's for damn sure. You won't be in business very long. But when it's not your money, it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, I talked to somebody yesterday involved with recruiting, and I said, how does this work? And they said, well, they want to know, how much they're going to get before they even agree to visit. That's the way it goes. And then it goes from there. I said, well, then if they tell you how much some other schools offering them, how do you know it's true? They're not inflating it or whatever. And says, you don't, you just kind of figure out what your budget is and how much you're willing to go for the guy. But that's where we're at right now.
Oh, there's no question. The alleged NIL inducement to Quinn Ewers to come back to college football, but transfer for $6 million. That's, floating around out there, which I'm like, okay, if that information is out there, then who's offering this? How do you not find out about that? I know this is a different subject, but there are little to no rules. There has to be some guardrails. So the NCAA needs to immediately conduct an investigation right now and find out where this is coming from, whether they do or not. I doubt it because they lose everything. And they're like, I'm not getting in that. We get our ass kicked every time we go to court. So is there going to be any stop to it? It's going to take an act of Congress, literally.
Yeah, I mean, the NCAA doesn't have the manpower. I don't think they have the will, considering all the losses they've taken in the courts recently, to even get involved in that. I really don't.
Absolutely. The great Rick Bozich from WDRB.com is with us. We've got to take one more break. Hope you're having a great day and enjoying yourselves. We're back with more at the Hard Truth Distilling Company studios. On the other side, Andy Moore Honda is Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer for a reason. Buy a new Honda and get a 3-month break from car payments. That's right, no payments for 90 days. That includes the all-new, all-electric Honda Prologue, and you get it for just 0.9% financing. Or the 2024 Honda Ridgeline Black Edition or the Honda Accord LX, both for just 1.9% financing. Get more to your door from AndyMooreHonda.com, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer and your best place for new and used vehicles. When it comes to apparel and promotions, Freethink has you covered, literally, whether it's 24 or 200 shirts for sports leagues, businesses, or groups. Freethink Apparel and Promotions can also create your very own merchandising store. Freethink Apparel and Promotions did it for Indiana Sports Beat Radio, and they can do it for you. Whether it's screen printing, embroidery, digital printing, promotional products, vehicle wraps, or anything else under the promotional line. See what Freethink Apparel and Promotions can do for you at freethinkapparel.com. Enjoy healthy, delicious meals at home without the hassle with the Fresh Fork. Chef-curated, ready-made meals delivered right to your doorstep. Proudly fueling IU athletes and now available to you with a menu that's always fresh and diverse, from hearty proteins to fresh salads. The Fresh Fork empowers you to make better food choices without compromising. Let the Fresh Fork help transform your lifestyle for a healthier way of living today at thefreshforkonline.com. Use promo code RADIO20 and get $20 off your first order. Hungry for something a little different? Well, head to the Rusty Gator Fork and Ale in Bedford, where oceanic flavors meet southern charm with a Cajun flair, like their loaded voodoo fries, gator bites, or jambalaya, and so much more. The Rusty Gator also has live music each Friday and Saturday night with some of the best local and regional artists around. Visit the Rusty Gator Fork and Ale in Bedford and get your Cajun on. Located on 325 acres in beautiful Brown County, Indiana, Hard Truth Distilling Company is the biggest and the best craft distillery around. While Hard Truth is already known for producing internationally awarded whiskeys and spirits like Hard Truth's sour mash bourbons, sweet mash, and hard road ryes, as well as their cinnamon vodka and the always popular toasted coconut rum. Hard Truth Distillery offers so much more. With a full-service restaurant, ATV, and distillery tours, as well as live music, you can spend an entire day at Hard Truth Distillery while making your entire family or group happy. And that's the Hard Truth. Hard Truth products are available across Indiana, as well as many other states. So no matter where you shop, if they don't carry your favorite Hard Truth product, tell them you want the truth, the Hard Truth. Hard Truth Distilling Company encourages you to enjoy all of their products responsibly and to never drink and drive. Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Wednesday. Thank you so much for being with us from the Hard Truth Distilling Company studios. Rick Bozich, WDRB.com, is with us. And Rick, looking at the net rankings, Indiana has one quad one win, and that came in their most recent outing. Right. Mm-hmm. That's probably one of the fewest, a team with the fewest quad one wins at the moment. I'm trying to look down through there. You look at Auburn, they've got 7. Duke has 5. Tennessee has 3. Houston, however,
has none.
0-3. 0-3. They're spotless everywhere else, but not on the big line. But
Florida's only got 1.
Iowa State. See, a team like Iowa State, they're just gritty, good basketball team, and they're not signing all these superstars, but yeah, they're competing.
North Carolina's only got 1. Texas has none.
Well, North Carolina's not very good this year, are they?
No.
Kansas is 2-2. 4-0 for Mississippi State. I talked about them earlier. Are they the most undervalued team right now in the country? They're under the radar, and they are flying high.
They got 4-0 and quad one wins. They won't be under the radar after Saturday. They play Kentucky Saturday.
Where's that game?
Starkville.
Oh, Starks Vegas.
Yep.
That should be a hell of a game. That would be an unbelievable win for Kentucky if they could pull that out, but it would be a that would boost Mississippi State up very high. Marquette 5 quad 1 wins. Kentucky 3-3. Just looking down through there. Texas A&M 3-1, another SEC team. 5-2 for Oregon. Oregon 5 quad 1 wins, although they have been a little shaky. Those 5 quad 1 wins, that's going to carry you a pretty good ways.
Yeah, they've also got a home loss to UCLA, and they got blown off the floor by Illinois last week.
I'm trying to find where Indiana even is in the net rankings. They're 58th.
58th, yeah.
58th. They are 1-3 in quad 1 games. They're spotless elsewhere, but they've. Where do you think that they have to be to make the NCAA tournament?
You got to be into the
low 40s,
mid to low 40s. Yeah, you can't be behind UC Irvine.
That's a lot of work. You got Boise State in front of them, Dayton in front of them. Northwestern is not a very good team, but they are ahead of Indiana.
I mean, Penn State's what? How many spots ahead of them? 11.
Yeah, they're 47th. UC San Diego, St. Mary's of California is 45th. They've got some serious. Vanderbilt. Are you kidding me? Vanderbilt.
No, they got work.
38th.
The best thing they have that going for them right now is they don't have any terrible losses. They got large margins, but they haven't lost. They don't have a quad 2, quad 3, or quad 4 loss.
6 SEC teams in the top 15, 7 in the top 17.
It's crazy.
It's mind-boggling. 8, 9 in the top 30. They're 1/3 of the top 30 in the net rankings.
Yeah, they're good.
That's mind-boggling.
Let's see. The Big Ten is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Big Ten's got 8 in the top, 9 in the top 30.
Yeah, and they're 21 through 26. Maryland, Wisconsin, UCLA, Purdue, all there right in a row. That's Big East. I missed that UConn, but UConn, a little fall, and Liam McNeely out with an ankle injury right now. They're going to miss him. So, and he's been averaging double digits.
I think UConn's got a tough game. UConn's at Villanova tonight. Yeah.
All their games are tough, man. College basketball is just fun now.
It is.
As was college football. And again, what has been the rise of the SEC? Is it just a focus on basketball, or is it the portal? Didn't he mention Ole Miss? Chris Beard at Ole Miss. They're ranked. I don't know where they are.
I mean, look at some of the coaches that are. I mean, Beard's been there now for a couple of years. Rick Barnes is a good coach who's been at Tennessee for a decade. Bruce Pearl's a good coach who's been at Auburn for a while. Nate Oates was kind of unknown, but he's come in and shown he's a really good coach. Took Alabama to the Final Four last year. They've hired a lot of good coaches in the league, and Calipari's in the league still. And they have the SEC network. They have the money to support the basketball programs in a way that they didn't used to in the past. And they've just taken a step. They've taken a step up in women's basketball too. They're very good in women's basketball.
Well, someone said it the other day, so I can't steal the thunder, but the SEC basketball is what SEC football thinks they are.
Yeah, you're right. It is. It's very good this year. I
It's
saw that. I
crazy.
think they went 30-4 against the ACC this year in non-conference games. 30-4.
The Big
crazy.
Ten doing very well on the football side of things, though. They are 4-1 currently, I think, against the SEC in postseason play. They have 2 teams still active in the CFP. It could be an all Big Ten final. We'll have to see if Penn State or Ohio State rather can get past Texas in Arlington. Lucky break for the Longhorns.
Yeah, and they're going against Quinn Ewers, who was at Ohio State for a semester and made $1 million or whatever it was.
Cup of coffee.
I mean, from the results of the first 2 batches of playoff games, Ohio State seems to be the team playing the best. So they flipped the narrative from after the Michigan game of how Ryan Day was on his way out and nobody liked him, and couldn't win the big game. They've looked great in the 2 games they've won. I'd say Notre Dame has also looked the second best because of the way they played. Showed it some toughness and athleticism to beat Georgia. I'd say Texas probably the third best team, but they've been a little shaky. They've had a lot of close games, and Penn State's the team with the most question marks. Even though they've won 2 games, they haven't played the toughest competition. And until they actually beat a good team, I think people are not going to be a believer in James Franklin.
I normally would be there as well. Their offense has really taken off, as
Penn
has
State?
Ohio State's. Yeah.
Yeah.
State and Ohio State both were living more on defense. Ohio State's offense was so, but it has come to life. But as has Penn State's. Drew Allar,
He's good.
has played very, very well.
Tight end's good, and they got 2 really good running backs. One's more of a power guy, and the other's a change of pace guy who's faster. But they've got a great running game.
And their defense does such a great job. It really aids their offense. It keeps them in better field goal position, gets them better field goal position, and it's just they probably have the best defense of the 4 remaining teams, I think.
Yeah, the question is that their best defensive players, they're not sure if he's going to be able to play. Abdul Carter, the defensive edge rusher, he got hurt in the last game, and they're non-committal on whether he's going to be able to play in this game against Penn State plays Notre Dame, right? And Texas plays Ohio State. Yeah. I mean,
Yes.
the Big Ten just needs to get 1 team to the finals. That's what you need.
But how nice would it be to get both in there? And the SEC is actually only still remaining because of a blown call, in my opinion.
And because Texas really isn't an SEC team. This is their first year in the league, but I don't really consider them an SEC team, but that's just me.
Exactly. How about Tom Allen? Tom Allen goes from
Good
the frying pan to the top shelf. How ironic. I don't think it's ever happened. A coach gets fired at a school, goes someplace else like he did, winds up in a great position, but his old school also skyrockets. So it was a win-win for everybody.
Yeah, it definitely was. And I think people at Indiana respected and liked Tom Allen for the things he did for the program. He helped Kevin Wilson, I think, got it started with Fred Glass in terms of upgrading the facilities and the commitment to football. And Tom Allen kept it going. And then, Scott Dolson and Kurt Signetti took it to the next step. But Tom Allen did a lot of good things at IU. And his biggest downfall was when he lost some of his top coordinators. The people he hired to replace him weren't at the same level, and they lost a lot of momentum. But every time you watch Mike Penix play in the NFL games the last few weeks, you thought that was the guy we saw at Indiana when he had blocking and he was healthy. He can throw the ball with anybody.
Dude was fun to watch. But I think Indiana is going to be fun to watch again next year with Fernando Mendoza coming in. So I'm wondering, will Indiana be better next year than this year? Because they are really adding some great pieces. They may have lost less players to the portal than any other team in the country.
Right.
Any P4 team.
Yeah, you're right. And they've gotten some good ones. That receiver they got out of Michigan the other day is a good player, who I think will be a really good slot receiver in Indiana. That's and a decent return guy. That'll be they've got a lot of returning talent. The schedule will be harder and there'll be one less home game, but they've got a lot of returning talent, and we'll see if he can keep it going. Just keep stacking winning seasons. That's what you have to do.
Yeah, the season does get difficult next year when you go to Oregon, to Penn State, and to Iowa. So if they could come out 1-2 and that, they would be ahead of the game, I think.
Yeah. And they've got, if Mendoza is the real deal and, the receivers are quality receivers, the back should be good. I mean, they've got probably need to add a few more offensive linemen still.
Yes.
Never have enough of those, and maybe another defensive lineman, maybe a linebacker, because they do lose Jalen Walker, who's a really good player.
and Iowa just added the quarterback from South Dakota State. Who? Oh yeah, he two-time national champion. So their offense was much better this year, but it was a running offense. Now they're adding a guy that can throw the ball, and they've got Tim Lester. That's going to be interesting. The Big Ten, just like in basketball, is still the Big Ten. It just seems like it's the bruising league. In basketball, the bruising league, whereas like the SEC is considered a little more pace. I think the Big Ten needs to get to that point, because it seems like it haunts them when the tournament comes around.
Yeah. Kirk Ferentz, though, is old school. He's good. It's like trying to convince him not to play two guys in the post to give up his running game.
Oh, what's up next for you, brother?
Everybody's on the road this weekend. Indiana's at Iowa, Kentucky's at Mississippi State, and Louisville's at Pittsburgh. So I'll be home watching games on TV, enjoying the football play. That's Thursday and Friday night, right? One game
yes,
Thursday,
sir.
one game Friday.
Yes, sir.
So I'll be enjoying that, and I usually pay attention to what Lamar Jackson's doing. He's got a big following here in town, and I think the Ravens play the Steelers on Saturday night, so I'll be tuned into that. Although the IU game's Saturday night too, right? And the Kentucky basketball game. 8
p.m. Saturday. Yep.
Yeah. So that's going right against the Steelers and the Ravens, and Kentucky, Mississippi State's at 8:30. So I'll have to it'll be a 3-screen night.
You'll go into the war room.
Yes, I will.
Rick Bozich, WDRB.com. You should be giving him a follow and keeping up with all of his content at WDRB.com. Appreciate you, buddy. Look forward to seeing you.
All right. Thanks, Jim. Have a good one.
Thank you, brother. Happy New Year to you. You as well. I say hi to Ruby. Rick Bozich from WDRB.com. Big thanks to everybody, especially each and every one of you. Without you, we have no reason to be here. We're grateful for that opportunity. Back tomorrow to do it all again. Coach Griffith will be with us, Bob Kravitz, and more. Until then, I'm Jim Coyle. I will see you on the radio.
Thanks for listening to Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page for more clips and team coverage of Indiana basketball, football, and more. You can also find full episodes and tons of other content on thehoosier.com. We'll see you next time for another edition of Indiana Sports Beat Radio.
Shoot.